Hello everybody, welcome back to the Sonic Chronicle. My name is Owen, and today we're going to be looking at another release radar. We're going to be reviewing it after we've gone down through it, and I gotta say, there's some new stuff in here, so thank you for that, Spotify. Before we get into it, as a reminder, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content, so that you can get it dropped right into your subscriber feed when new videos go live. I know I've been pumping out quite a lot of videos recently. Don't get used to that. We will probably be falling back into the regular one video a week, one short a week funk shortly. It's just there's been an awful lot going on lately, so I just decided to try and capitalize on that a little bit. And looking at and roasting those Spotify Wrapped was a little bit too tempting. For now, though, we're going to jump straight into it. As I mentioned, we have got a lot of new stuff, a lot of really good stuff in here by the looks of things. However, I am going to skip Ghost because this 13 Commandments album is just a compilation album of a number of their most popular songs. Zenith is a hidden track, I believe, on Meliora. Meliora being, I think it's like the third record back. Came out in probably about 2017. Future me, fact check that, please. So we're going to skip over that, and instead what we might do is we'll jump forward and listen to Afterglow of Ragnarok by Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson being the singer in Iron Maiden and being an incredible vocalist. His solo stuff is slightly different to the Iron Maiden stuff. You won't find as much galloping on it, in spite of the fact that he has brought over one of the guitarists from Iron Maiden, I believe, into his solo work. And this is immediately very, very different, clearly. Heavier, bigger guitars. Well, if he did bring over guitarists and they were writing together, they would be. It's a little bit Maiden there. Not gallop-wise. It's a little bouncy. It's kind of cool. Oh, pinched harmonics! Lovely. I do find, though, of the Bruce Dickinson stuff that the lyrics aren't as good. The songs aren't written quite as well, I don't think. That's very Aussie, actually. I would have liked the bridge is broken. That would have been cool. Moving into a more melodic style of sound. That's cool. Are they going for like a big epic sound? Is that what they're looking for here? Back into the intro riff. Okay. This is quite a long song is what I'll say. Nearly 6 minutes. I mean, yes, I know it's metal and metal tend to have longer songs, but I hope that it's very interesting throughout. I feel like this is getting a little bit too samey. So are we going to have like a big long minute and a half guitar solo? Yeah, lovely. Lovely vocal work, Bruce. Very strange. Very strange middle section here. This guitar solo is really weird. I'm not sure that part works, to be honest. It feels like he's a bit pitchy there. Okay. I get it, Bruce. I get the name of the song. I didn't like it when Dolly did it in Stairway to Heaven. I don't like it here when Bruce Dickinson does it in this song, Afterglow of Ragnarok. Yeah, look, it's fine. It doesn't really do much for me. It's fine. It's got some cool guitars in there, in parts. A bit of a weird solo, like playing very little in the way of notes at the beginning, and then as the solo goes on, playing all the notes. I've listened to some of Bruce Dickinson's solo stuff recently, which is probably why it got recommended to me through the release radar. But yeah, it just doesn't do much for me. Sorry, Bruce. I'm more about the Maiden. Okay, next up, we're going to move on. We're going to listen to Fight Night by the Spindrift Saga. Now, this release radar review has quite a lot of interesting stuff in here, in the sense that it's a lot of stuff that I've never heard of. So this might be a relatively long one, but we're going to go down through it and we're going to listen to a bunch of stuff. We're going to skip Gimme Love, the Sentinel remix by Sia and Sentinel. And we're going to listen to Nope. We're going to listen to Fight Night by the Spindrift Saga. Ooh. Yeah, this is nicely produced. This is well put together. I don't like the vocal tone here in terms of how it's been recorded. I'd like it to be much clearer. Everything else sounds super crisp though. That bass sounds great. Yeah, I just want the vocal to be higher up in the mix a little bit. Very, very small bit. And I would like it to be... maybe use a different microphone. Or maybe a different speaker. Whatever you're using to model there. If it is being modeled. Let's take a look. Who are the Spindrift Saga? 1,285 monthly listeners. Independent Australian act renowned for their tight live shows, catchy rhythms, bright licks, and big alt-funk rock sound. Alright. Cool. This is cool. This sounds great. Good job, Spindrift Saga. And this is what I love about the idea of the release radar. That it introduces you to acts that are similar to acts that you might listen to, that you would never have come across, that you'd never have heard of. Yeah, cool little wah solo. This is catchy. This could be in like a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game, you know? Like during one of the earlier Tony Hawk's games when you could only spend a certain amount of time in a level, so you only heard like 2.5 songs, or maybe 1.5 songs if they were particularly long. I wouldn't be averse to listening to this song in a Tony Hawk level at all. Get the sound of the skateboard ollieing. The guitar oh, that's a great ending. The guitar sounded really bright there throughout that whole song. The bass was super clear, had a great sound to it. Drums really well mic'd, really nicely balanced in the mix. Again, I think it was maybe the vocal recording that let it down a little bit. Not that the vocals were bad, the vocals were really good. I loved the vocal lines. Just that I think that maybe the recording could have been done a little bit better. Maybe the vocals could have been a little clearer. But that's the only nitpick that I have about that. That's great. That's going to get the Sonic Chronicles seal of approval. Don't sleep on Fight Night by the Spindrift Saga. Stick it on your playlists. Next up, we're going to listen to California by Puppets for Poets. Let's look up a little bit about who Puppets for Poets are. They've got nearly 10,000 monthly listeners. Holy molies. To their evocative upcoming debut EP, display the power of subtlety as they guide the listener down an unexpected path in search of meaning in a world of uncertainty with inequality on shaky ground. Vocals are too low, guitars are too loud. Drums are too quiet. Bass and guitar interplay is nice though. Is that an accordion? I think it is, you know. Yeah, this is fine. It's fine. I'm not as gone on it as Fight Night. I don't think it has as much energy about it. I don't think the vocalist is doing much here. Like, he's trying to go for something, but it's just not coming off. It feels disingenuous. That is an accordion. Like, what I'll say is they've got quite a bit of music out there. They've got a couple of EPs. Like, how old are they? Show me the about section. Like, there's nothing massively wrong with this, but there's nothing massively interesting about it for me. And reading the little bit of a blurb there, displaying the power of subtlety as they guide the listener down an unexpected path in search of meaning. Like, what's unexpected about it? Like, it's very simple, in my opinion. Nothing about that is unexpected in any way. It's pleasant enough, but that's about all that I can say about it. Again, I think the mix isn't quite right. Some of the vocalist parts tries stuff, doesn't quite come off, feels disingenuous as a result. Yeah, maybe a little bit nitpicky, maybe a little bit harsh, but yeah, it just doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't engage with me in any way. And maybe this isn't even their best song. If you know Puppets for Poets and you know their back catalogue and they've got better songs, let me know in the comments section below. I'll be happy to jump back in and maybe have a listen to some of those. Next up, we got Barb Waters, Thinking a Lot About You. This is very country straight away. Oh, I know where this is going straight away. That intro is going to come back in the chorus. It just kind of plods along. Oh. Yeah, this doesn't do anything. It's fine. Grand. Let it play in the background. It'll be very inoffensive. It'll do nothing for you. But yeah, it doesn't seem particularly inventive or groundbreaking. But let's take a look. Who's Barb Waters? 5,000 monthly listeners. Nothing about them. Cool. This is going to sound really weird, but I think she's maybe got a little bit of a Courtney Love quality to her vocal. Like if she was singing Amethyst, I think she would do it very closely to what Courtney Love sang it, or how Courtney Love sang it. Okay, pretty standard solo, and I'm not sure that end to that solo worked into the quiet part particularly well. I think there's a more seamless way to do that. Half chorus or half verse. That's for, or half middle, I guess. That's good. Yeah, just kind of peters out and that's it. Yeah, it's grand. It doesn't do anything. It's not for me. Maybe someone listens to that and they go, you know what? This is the first time that I've heard music, but I would be doubtful that someone does. 2 by numbers. It's 2 country by numbers for me. All right, we're going to move on to Shut Me Down by Lolas. Any second now. Oh. Again, I don't like the envelope that's on the vocal. But this is interesting. Great drum part. Yeah, this is quite pleasant, quite energetic, quite fun. Do you know what this kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of That Thing You Do from the film That Thing You Do, where the band was called The Wonders, Oneders. Who are Lolas? 2,317 monthly listeners. Alabama-based guitar pop band. Those guitars are very jangly, very bright. Maybe a couple of strats on a telly or something like that in there. I'm basing that on very little. Maybe this image. Oh, that's a Les Paul. Never mind. That's a telly. That's a telly right there. It's just the guitars sound very light, so I wouldn't have said humbuckers. Maybe they were playing a different song in that image. Yeah, that's a lovely little piece of power pop. That was really nice. I'm not going to give the Sonic Chronicle seal of approval because I don't think it's quite there. But yeah, that's fun. That's pretty fun. I like that. I would listen to more Lolas. We're going to listen to Catch and Release Acoustic by Audio Karate and The Punk Cellist. That's very faint. That's cool. I love it when vocalists kind of give it their all. And that sounds very ominous and discordant. I love that. Oh, you can hear the cello there as well. That's lovely. Remember when Apocalyptica were all the rage? 4 cellos playing all Metallica stuff? And some original tracks? Not many original tracks, but some. They were good. Cello is underrated. So I like what they're going for here. I like what they're doing. They're playing one of their songs. They're adding some cello. Adding another layer to the song. That's fine and all. It's just not doing much for me. Elements of it I like, for sure. We've talked about them already. But, yeah, it's just not overall exciting. That ominous sound there is really good. That little walk down. Are we getting into something interesting here? Not particularly. This song is too long. 5 minutes is too long for this song. It is too samey towards the end. It doesn't hold the attention. Yeah, that ending then as well. That's not. I feel like they could have done more at the ending there. Just the hard stop. It's not quite good enough when you've taken me 5 minutes. Not quite good enough. It could be good enough if they condense it down and maybe make it like a nice 3.5 minute, 4-ish minutes, less than 4 minute song. I think that could be really, really good. All right, we're getting down a little bit further. We're going to listen to Younger by the Violet Parade. Ooh, we got a bit of delay. Who are the Violet Parade? 5,320 monthly listeners. Deep but approachable, varied but melodic, with a rich palette of influences. From Amsterdam, Leiden. Catchy indie rock that's accessible but never predictable. Never predictable, eh? Okay. The drums sound really good. This is quite strange in some ways, is what I'll say. Oh, that's the whole chorus? Like, I know I talk about songs overstaying their welcome, but that's maybe taking it a little bit to the extreme of cutting out a little bit too much, perhaps. That's a cool little bass line. I like the thought that's gone into that bass line. I like this part. This part sounds really full. Do they like double track a guitar and pan one left and right? And straight down the middle, perhaps? Does this solo do much? I don't know. I don't think it added much. I want there to be more chorus in this song. Because I think the verse parts are cool. But I think you need to have like the big sound of a longer chorus in there before you get back to the quieter verses, the more restrained verses, so that they have that bit more impact, you know, or that every section has its own impact. Like they keep putting in these interesting little effects in there, or these like reversed fade-ins, or I guess fade-outs you call them. Reversed fade outs, so fade ins, I suppose, in there, and they sound really interesting. But I'm not sure how much they add. I'd be interested to listen to more of them. It's a good effort. I don't think it's necessarily the best that song can be, but I'd like to hear more of it, more of their music. I think with some tweaks that can be a better song. Fraser Morgan's up next. Fell in Love Again. Is this a novelty song? Acoustic folk punk artist. Compared to the likes of Frank Turner, The Levelers, and Billy Bragg. I don't know about that. I don't know about this, guys. This doesn't do anything for me. This is kind of like, we're holding up the bypass. Me and my dad haven't top laughed. The JCB song. Biden is loppy. This song is 3.5 minutes long. Jesus Christ, I have to sit through another 1.5 minutes of this. I'm not sure who this is supposed to appeal to. Is it people in their late teens, early 20s? I could potentially see this song being a one-hit wonder. No, please not again. Please don't do it again. Okay, so he's hitting all the millennial, or the Gen Z tick boxes there. Yeah, that's again, too abrupt of an ending for what you just put me through. Yeah, I don't think much of that, frankly. It is a novelty song, in my opinion. Sorry, but that's how I feel about that song. If you are an acoustic punk troubadour, acoustic folk punk artist, give me more of the punk, please. All right, we're going to listen to one or two more songs. One of these is going to be One Last Breath by Distorted Resonance. This is the intro. This is One Last Breath by Creed. Someone has covered Creed. With this many listeners? Hang on. Mid-2000s rock sounds. Major influence for this band on the rise. Yeah, like when I hear thunder, but I'm down to one last breath. Let me say, hold me now. I'm 6 feet from the edge and I'm thinking, oh, you'll be 6 feet, ain't so far down. Yeah, I'm not listening to this. So I am kind of a Creed fan. Like, One Last Breath. Listen, I think Creed have had some bangers. One Last Breath is one of them. But this is just a cover of that Creed song, and it is identical to that song. So it's not, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time by listening to that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to Second Chances by Project Overload. And who are Project Overload? They've got 2 songs. 2 songs total. Oh! Indie pop music from Coventry in the UK. And they're a bunch of kids. This is great. I'm not going to be too harsh. They're a bunch of kids. They've got their entire lives ahead of them to get better production. The drums sound alright though. That bass needs to be way higher in this mix. Bass player in Project Overload. Think more of yourself. Push your bass up. Yeah, don't listen to what anyone else tells you. The bass is very important, alright? I gotta say, this is really good indie pop. Also, the backing vocal needs to be higher up in the mix as well. Slap some reverb on that, or not reverb, slap some reverb on that, make it sound massive. I suppose maybe one piece of feedback there as well is between the chorus and the verse, like coming back in. I feel like maybe there's a more elegant way to get back in there than the way that you did it there. This pre-chorus is good though. It starts to build the momentum really nicely. I like the lyrics as well. The lyrics are really good. Really empowering. Oh, is the bass a little bit higher this part? Yeah, the bass seems a little bit higher in the mix now. I like what the guitar is doing here. This is a long fade out, is it? No, it's not. Okay. Good. Alright. That song is really good. That song is really well constructed. That's a really good indie pop song. Great job. Second Chance or Project Overload. A small bit of tweaking maybe would make it a little bit better, but listen, there's nothing wrong with that. You could release that and you'd probably get a few gigs out of that. Great job. Great job, Project Overload. We're going to finish it up with Brandy Christie, No One Like You. So it's electronica, is what you're telling me. Or, ooh, is it soul? Who's Brandy Christie? 44,000 monthly listeners. 24-year-old singer-songwriter from Perth. Motown soul, R&B and pop, yeah. This one doesn't feel like a bop necessarily just yet, but it's definitely nice and clean in terms of its production. Oh. Some of this production really reminds me of like Mark Rabier. And it's kind of very slow, very, for lack of a better term, very sexy, right? In terms of its production. Which you know, they're all hallmarks of Mark Rabier. If you don't know who Mark Rabier is, look him up. Look up his alarm song. or Your New Alarm, Mark Rebier. That should find something for you. Maybe if I think enough, or if I can find it, I will cut it in.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go. Get up, and get the guy, go.
This is decidedly much simpler than Mark Rebier, though, and simpler. Simpler is probably the correct word there, rather than basic. This could do with taking it up a notch, or going somewhere a little bit more, I think. I think you could probably have gotten away with just like playing synth chords throughout most of this song, with the bass and the drums going, and this wouldn't have detracted anything from this song. It's very easy listening, I'll give it that, but it doesn't really do anything for me. Abrupt ending as well. Just maybe put a little bit more thought into the ending of your songs, because sometimes the ending is as important as as important as the intro, perhaps. So I think that like those abrupt endings are just not quite enough. All right, that's where we're going to leave it for this week's release radar review, though. Overall, I love seeing this kind of stuff, right? Artists that I've never heard of before being thrown up in front of me so that I can give a listen to them and potentially provide some feedback to those songs. Fight Night by the Spindrift Saga was really good. California Puppets for Poets didn't do much for me. Barb Waters was super basic by numbers. Shut Me Down by Lolas, that was quite good. Younger by the Violet Parade, yeah, was quite good as well. There's some stuff in there that I would change or that I would do differently, but yeah, it's a good song. Fell in Love Again by Fraser Morgan, not get it out of there. One Last Breath, not One Last Breathe, Distorted Resonance, it's One Last Breath. Yeah, it's the same song. And then we jumped up ahead and we listened to Second Chances by Project Overload, which is great. And No One Like You by Randy Christie, which didn't do much. There's a bunch of other stuff in there by artists that I've never heard of that I would have liked to have listened to had the time. But if there's anyone in there whose name you recognize and you think that I should give a shot, leave me a comment in the comments section below. Like this video if you like what I'm doing. Subscribe to the channel to see more of this kind of stuff in the future. And of course, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.